Hello everyone.
Excuse me while I move my big box. I'm Dean.
Well, some of you might know me as Mr. Russell Ram. Some of you know me as Mr. Ram. Hi there.
Hello. Hi. And welcome to Big Box of Books.
Big box of books. Big box of books.
Excuse me while I move my big box.
Hi, and welcome again to my big box of books,
Last weekend was very, very busy as it was my birthday and I had a wonderful party.
which means I didn't get round to filming a video. So
So I did a live video instead and I was a bit sad because when I watched it back I realised that the camera was pretty rubbish.
this week we're back to normal, and today's story is The Unladylike Ladybird.
Which is written by Sebastian Auger and is illustrated by Mariah Stoyanova.
From an early age, Layla, the ladybird, was unlike most other ladybirds. Her sisters would spend their mornings washing themselves, helping each other polish their bright wing covers until they glistened in the sunshine.
However, the first thing on Layla's mind would be to rush out of the house as quickly as possible to meet up with her friends out in the forest.
She found her friends at their usual spot down by the bank of a small nearby stream. The whole gang were there, watching Sally the spider spin a thick web on a branch hanging over the water. "Layla!" shouted Willy the worm excitedly.
We're going to make a tree swing. Come help us. Sally wove a thick strand of web hanging down from the branch. All we need now is the right size twig for a seat, said Sally. So they all went in search for a twig. Found one, said Gary the grasshopper, but his twig was too brittle. It broke apart too easily. How about this, said Layla. But her twig was too prickly. It would be too uncomfortable to sit on.
"This one's perfect," said Becky the beetle as she presented a smooth and sturdy twig. Sally then tied her strand of web around the twig and they were ready to go.
Gary volunteered to go first. "This is great! It feels like I'm flying!" Next was Willy the worm, who wrapped himself around the twig and was pushed by Becky and Layla. "Higher! Higher!" he shouted. But then he lost his grip and flung off the swing and into the stream.
The stream was a very dangerous place for Willy because it was full of fish who loved to gobble worms up for a juicy snack.
Help, shouted Willy. Layla wasn't very good at flying yet, since she often missed her flying lessons to play with her friends, but she was determined to save poor Willy. Her shiny red black spotted shell released her wings as she flew up into the air and hovered over the water, grabbing Willy just in the nick of time as a fish jumped up after them.
She had never carried anyone while flying before, and Willy was too heavy for her, so they crashed into the wet mud on the riverbank with a splosh.
With a splash.
All their friends rushed over to see if they were okay.
They sat panting for a moment before bursting into laughter as they were covered in mud.
Willy was used to being covered in mud because he lived underground, but they all helped to clean Layla as best they could before it was time to go home for the day. Layla's mother wasn't happy when she returned home. "What will we do with you, Layla? All the other ladybirds have been practicing flying. You skipped class again and then came home filthy. Ladies should wear makeup, fancy dresses and jewellery, just like your sisters."
I don't care about those things. I just want to play with my friends, said Layla. Her sisters couldn't understand why Layla didn't care about looking pretty and acting like a proper ladybird. "You know you will never have a boyfriend if you don't act like a real ladybird, Layla," said Michelle, her older sister. "A boyfriend? I have to act all boring to get a boyfriend. No thanks. I have many friends. I don't need a boyfriend," she replied.
The next day, as her sisters lay sunbathing and polishing their nails, Layla sneaked off again to meet up with the gang.
Today, they decided to go tunnelling, and they asked Rita the glowworm to go with them, so that she could light up the tunnels. Michelle, Layla's sister, had followed Layla, as she was curious to see what her younger sister got up to, while the rest of the ladybirds were busy preening themselves.
Michelle watched the gang laugh and joke while collecting fruit, nuts and other snacks before following Willy the worm as he burrowed down into the ground. She neared the entrance of the tunnel and could hear the echo of the gang telling scary stories, trying to scare each other. Michelle then went back to meet up with her sisters, but found it boring compared to the fun Layla was having. They were just sat around sunbathing, reading magazines and talking about boys. Layla was awake at the crack of dawn the following day, as all her forest friends had agreed to meet up straight after breakfast to play a big game of tag. Michelle had noticed Layla waking up early and she nudged her sisters awake too. Wake up, she said. "Let's follow Layla today to see what she's up to." "Ugh, I don't care what that little dirtbag is up to," said Priscilla.
"I have given up on her. She will never be a proper ladybird."
Priscilla, the eldest sister, was regarded as the most beautiful ladybird of all.
She spent all her time making herself as pretty as possible, and she was known to be very stubborn. With some persuading, Michelle managed to convince Priscilla and Betty to go spy on their little sister.
They followed the direction of the laughter, and soon enough they stumbled across Layla, who was counting down.
8, 7, 6. "What is she doing?" whispered a baffled Priscilla. "I think they're playing tag, and Layla's it," said Betty. "I have heard that this is a popular game with the forest creatures," she said with disdain. 2, 1, ready or not, here I come,
said Layla, searching all around the clearing, trying to spot her friends. Gary the grasshopper hadn't even bothered to hide, as he knew he was the fastest. Layla ran towards him, but he just hopped out of the way with ease. "You'll never catch me," he laughed, but just as he said that, he tripped over a fallen branch. "Oh yeah? Tag," said Layla, as she slapped him on the back. "You're on my team now. Let's catch the others." They quickly found Willy the worm and tagged him. Then Layla chased Sally the spider up the tree and caught her. "Buzz," said Benny the bee as he flashed past Gary. "That's not fair, Benny. No flying allowed," shouted Gary as Benny landed near him. "No problem. You're too slow anyway," said Benny.
As Gary jumped towards him, he swiftly scurried underneath him to avoid him. "Ha ha, told you, too slow," he said, but he had failed to notice Willy slithering on the ground, who was able to sneak up on him and tag him.
The only person left to tag was Becky. With the whole gang chasing her, she dived into the bushes where Layla's sisters were hiding. "Ah!" shouted Priscilla as Becky the beetle crashed into her. "Sorry," said Becky, nervously, because the last time she saw Priscilla, she had made fun of how dark and boring her shell was compared to hers. "What are you doing here?" asked a shocked and angry Layla. "Are you spying on me?" All the sisters were stunned and didn't know what to say. We started Michelle before Priscilla cut in. "We wanted to know if we could play too," she said, while giving a warm smile to Becky. They all joined in, and it was the biggest and most fun game any of them had ever played. After several hours, the whole gang, along with their new members, were completely exhausted. "I've got an idea," said Billy the bee. "You guys grab a leaf and fill it with water from the river. I'll be back in 5 minutes." Billy soon returned with a couple of his bee friends who were helping him carry a honeycomb. They added honey to the water and all enjoyed the sweet, refreshing drink in the shade of a big tree, as they all rested, chatted, and joked together after a long game. "Sorry for giving you a hard time," Priscilla whispered to Layla. "You were right all along. There's more to life than just what you look like." The sisters hugged each other and set off home, after saying goodbye to their new friends. The end. That is a lovely story, and I'm so glad I got to share it with you. There certainly is more to life than what you look like. Until next time, click like, subscribe, and tune in again for more stories.